Yo, what's going on, man? Today is February the 20th. NBA season is back. As you can probably tell if you're watching or if you're listening, you probably can hear it in my voice too. Not feeling the greatest today. I'm not feeling the greatest, not even close to feeling the greatest today. But I got a couple looks that I want to share, and we're going to get into it and do just that, man. We're going to do just that. Get off of here. It won't be a super long show today just because I'm not feeling great. I'm ready to go get back into bed. But flu game Chris is here. I'm not sure if it's a flu, but it sure damn well might as be. I feel terrible, man. But let's jump into it for today, man. I'll go through a couple comments, talk about the recap that we had before the All-Star break, and give out a future play as well. I forgot to add the future play, but let's jump into it. So before the All-Star break, shouldn't say last night, it should say last game's recap. I took Houston on the money line against Golden State. Turned out to be a terrible play with the Warriors ruling everybody in. And then and Houston just didn't come to play in that game. It's crazy that they didn't come to play. Sengun, I think had 10 points. But it is what it is. Then OKC also didn't come to play. 7-point favorites against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who had just lost to the Milwaukee Bucks the night before. OKC was ready for the break as well. So both of those ended up being losers. It was half unit on both. So ended up losing just a unit there, but still sucks to go out before the All-Star break with 2 L's. I'm not going to get into too many comments today just because, like I said, I'm not feeling the greatest, but appreciate you, Mitchell. Just feel good to be back. I hope you enjoyed the break, Chris. It's good for, yeah, absolutely. It was really good for my mental. I binge watched show on Netflix and read half of a book that some things I don't typically get to do too much. So yeah, it was definitely good for a mental reset. What up, Jose? Appreciate you for being here as always. Good morning, Prolifics, as he cashed the under in the Lakers game last night. What's up, Brian? Says Lakers forgot to play defense again last night with no center. We're in trouble. We head back to Portland tonight. Yeah, I agree with that. I thought about taking a +4 last night with Portland. I think Fanatics had one open, but I stayed off just because the Lakers did lose in that fashion. But we'll see. LeBron also played close to 40 minutes last night. Lakers were trying to win. We're not trying to lose that game at all. Let's see. What's up, Frederick? Appreciate you for tapping in. Good morning, Tasha. What's up, Joe? Tasha says, COVID test, Chris. I don't think it's COVID, Tasha. I have had COVID once. I don't think I called all the snow. Let's see real quick. I didn't even look outside since I've been downstairs. It stopped in Virginia right now. Snow has actually stopped a little bit. What up to my guy, Justin? Good morning, Anthony. A lot of users in. What's up, Mark? What's up, King Predictions? Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just all upper respiratory. I just got a headache, sinus headache, probably throat a little sore, coughing, some congestion. It's just some of that simple stuff, but it's all good, man. We'll get there. Guys, Gift says snowing in Carolina too. Yeah, we got a little bit of weather, man, for sure. Let's jump into it for today. So we got jaXon up first. I'm not going to read all of what jaXon has to say just because I don't feel like reading that much, if I'm being honest. But the prompt for jaXon today was I just asked jaXon, what is the best ATS pick on the board for the NBA today? So yeah, that's what the prompt was. jaXon likes the Knicks -12 today. That's the best bet. And like I said, I'm not reading the whole thing, but pretty much jaXon says that the Knicks have been dominant against the East. They're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games versus the East. 4-1 last 5. And hold on one second. Let's see. Yeah, they're 4-1 last 5 against the spread. The Bulls are free fall, losing their last 4 games by an average of 25 points per game. 0-5 against the spread in their last 5. So jaXon wants to not catch the falling knife with the Bulls in this game. Like I said, they're average margin of defeat is 24.8 points per game. So jaXon likes the Knicks to keep it going tonight and fading the Bulls. So yeah, that's what jaXon likes. There's a link in the description. A lot of people, I saw some people sign up over the break to probably handicap some other sports. But yeah, if you're interested in jaXon, the link is in the description of the video. So check jaXon out if you're interested. And that's it. jaXon got player props, size, totals, all that good stuff too. So let's jump into it for today. I got a couple plays that I made. First one in this Boston Celtics and 76ers game. Line open 8. It's not 8 anymore. It's actually got bought down to 7, and now it's looked like it's teetering between 7 and 7.5. The total has dropped from 224.5 down to 223. So I should probably update that. So 7.5, 223.5. This one's pretty simple for me. I didn't bet it, but I did make a bet like literally right before the show. I just forgot to put it in, but put it in earlier. But as far as the side for me, this one's pretty simple. It's Boston or nothing. I'm not catching the falling knife with the Philadelphia 76ers. I look at the injury. I forgot to go to injury report. Injury report has everybody for Boston rolled in except Xavier Tillman. And on the Philly side, Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry remain out, but they do have Paul George, Embiid, and Maxey. Kelly Oubre as well. This is the third matchup between the two teams. Philly actually beat Boston in Boston on Christmas, if people remember that. Boston returned the favor a couple weeks ago, but they didn't cover that game earlier this month. They won 118-110 as a 12.5 point road favorite. Philly did cover both games so far. Both totals actually went over the 223 and 224. So there's a couple ways I think you can play this one. I think when I think about Philly, I don't think about a good defensive team. This team is actually pretty poor. They went into the break 3-7 straight up, 4-6 against the spread, including 5 straight games, 5 straight losses, and 6 straight non-covers. Remember, the last game they played was actually against Brooklyn. They didn't have Maxey. He ended up being ruled out last minute. Didn't have Embiid. Paul George finished with 2 points. And we talked about taking Paul George unders in that game too. He said something wrong with his hand or something. I ain't trying to hear it. Boston last 5 games before the break, this team was really good. They went in 6th in offensive efficiency, 3rd in defensive efficiency, 7th strongest strength of schedule. Philly last 5 games, 24th in offensive efficiency, 21st in defensive efficiency, playing at the 9th slowest pace against the 8th weakest schedule. So some people are still thinking that, Philly could potentially make the playoffs and, cause some damage. But when I hear Embiid talking about needing surgery, and I'm just not into what Philly is doing. I will say this: the last time that they played, if people remember, I went back and looked at it yesterday. The Boston Celtics were down 26 points, I think, in the third quarter to the Philadelphia 76ers earlier this month. And Philly ended up, Boston ended up going, I think, on a 64-20 run. 64-20, I think is what it was. Yeah, it was like 90-110. Yeah. I think it was a 64-20 run, which just lets you know how dominant Boston can be when they absolutely lock in. I think that, just the way that they went into the break, I'll probably be laying the points here with Boston. I also think that a Boston team total up and over is the other way that I'm looking to play it. Just because Philly's defense, like I said, they went into the break not good defensively. I don't expect them to be good defensively this season. So Boston team total is 115.5. I think that they can get to 116 in Philly. I know Embiid slows the pace down a little bit, but I think Boston efficiency will get them 116 points in this game. So Boston team total over, Boston minus the 7 will be my recommendations. As far as plays that I actually made, this is the one that I actually just made right before the show, and that's Porzingis. So we'll go over to Outlier really quickly. Let me just get a refresh real quick. See if we can find Mr. Porzingis. I mean, this is a pretty simple one. We've been playing this for a while now. Not every single game, but it makes sense in this game for me. Over 5.5 first quarter points. You can see that he's landed at 6 in the last 3 games, but what I like is the minutes he's been playing. I mean, he only played 7.8 in the less than 8 in that game against San Antonio, but the minutes for Porzingis is pretty much there. He's playing pretty much, that's probably what, 80% of the first quarter. So I love that he's playing, almost 8.5 minutes in the first quarter. And we just need him to, knock down 3 field goals or a couple, 2 or 3 and a 2 or a couple free throws. So I do think that he's going to pull Embiid away from the rim. And I think that he's going to go up and over this number. You can see that he had 8 the last time that these two teams played. And this season, even in the first game when they played, he had 6 as well. So I did play Porzingis up and over 5.5 first quarter points. The best odds are on bet 365 at -130. So it's a little bit of juice, but I'm cool with laying that juice and taking Porzingis to get to 6 points in the first quarter here. Absolutely has been money, and I like it. I like it. So Porzingis over 5.5 first quarter points is what I like in this game, along with the Boston Celtics -7 if I'm playing the spread. And or Boston team total up and over is the way I'm thinking. Let's see what you all are thinking here. I think I went back too far. What up, Brian? Since he's fading the Lakers tonight. What up, Ray? Says I can feel it. I feel like Chris about to go on a hot. Yeah, I feel like I'm about to get hot too, man. The last couple of weeks have been good weeks, but yeah, I feel like we're about to get hot for sure. What up, Frankie? It's good to be back. Been losing on soccer. Already had a positive night yesterday. Love to hear that. Bo Gang Stunner. What's up with you, bro? Justin says it's snowing big up there. Killian says, what's up, Chris? Hope you get that needed rest and feel better soon. Appreciate that. I'm gonna take a long nap when I get done with this. Mark says he got over 222.5 yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah, this feels like I expect Boston to be able to score. I don't know if Philly's gonna be able to score. Like Boston's defense has been really good recently. Took the over 224.5. So he likes the over, the market moving against you, Mark. Philly team total is 108.5. I'm seeing on FanDuel. I actually think Boston could hold them under 109. I kind of do. Even though both of these totals have gone up and over so far this season, I kind of feel like, I don't know. You still don't know which Boston team you're going to get, honestly. But recently, Boston's been really hot. They went into the break really hot. They blew the doors off San Antonio, beat them by 13 as an 8-point home favorite. Going into the break, they beat Miami by 18, beat the Knicks by 27 after losing to Dallas. So they were 8-2 straight up, 6-4 against the spread in their last 10, 5-4-1 against the spread in their last 5. Only one that they lost is the one that they only one they didn't cover is the one that they lost against the Dallas Mavericks. And defensively, Mark, they gave up 103 to San Antonio, 185 to Miami, and 104 to New York. 105 to Cleveland. Even though Philly did get the 110 in that last game. So yeah, I think that Boston should be able to score. I don't know too much about Philly. Boston has gotten to, their team total is 115.5. They got to 118 in both games so far this season. And they've gotten to 116 is what they need tonight. They've gotten there in 5 straight games against the Sixers. 5 straight games they've gotten to 116, which is what their team total is tonight, Mark. Let's see. I think we bet Celtics today by 2. We beat the Celtics by 2 points. Let's go Philly. I don't know if I agree with that. Justin says he played over 2. Let's see. What up, Jamel? 76ers first quarter, Celtics full game for Nayeli. What up, Helms? Tyrese Maxey over 26 points. Yeah, I think it's going to be a couple teams that do play hard, Brian. I do think so. But the injury report has been crazy, so we'll see what happens when we get there. I like the Celtics team total over DC Gennaro. I do like it, and I do endorse the Celtics -7. You can get 7s right now. You don't have to get 7.5. So definitely shop around. Make sure you got all the books that you have available, because that hook can catch you sometimes. So there are some 7s still available, but yeah. Tasha says, do you think it will be a lot of defense now that the All-Star game is over? Tends to go under. Yeah, so I looked into this, I think a couple of days ago, Tasha. Last year, we saw unders a little bit more in the second half of the season. But this year, 2 years ago, we actually saw overs. So, yeah, I think teams will start to buckle down. Yeah, I absolutely do. The Celtics, I wouldn't say so. I don't think that they care about catching Cleveland in the Eastern Conference. So I don't know how much we're going to get the Celtics buckling down. They may take their foot up off the gas just a little bit. I can see them resting, like Missoula resting players, kind of giving, alternating players on a given night, giving them the night off. So yeah, I don't think Boston is going. My personal opinion is I don't think Boston is one of those teams that's going to keep their foot on the gas. Stan likes Boston as well. Adam says, I also took Tatum over his rebounds and assists in this game. There was something that was pretty strong about Tatum rebounds and assists against the Bucks. I remember a couple years ago, but I couldn't talk you off. I hope you cash it. Let's move over to the next game. We got the Grizzlies and the Pacers. This line has moved a lot as well. Well, actually, just the total. Now up to 250. And money's come in on Memphis. It's open 1.5. It's up to 2.5. The total is at 250 now. So you can say that this needs to be updated. So plus 2.5 and 250. All right, so looking at this game, we start with the injury report. Miles Turner is off the injury report. He missed the last few games for the Indiana Pacers. They got everybody else though, so clean injury report there. On the Memphis side of things, they also got a clean injury report. When I think about this game, man, the first thing that kind of jumps out to me is how poor the Pacers finished going into the break. Now, could they have been just kind of looking into getting to the break? I think so. But I remember them playing the Wizards, and they got down by like double digits in that game. We actually hit the Pacers plus 4.5 to not lose to the Wizards. And I know it was the second leg of a back-to-back, but you can't be doing that against a team from DC, man. Like, that scares me a lot with the Pacers. Now they've had some time to kind of get things right. When these two teams played earlier this season, Memphis did beat them up pretty badly. I vividly remember that game. The Grizzlies did whatever they wanted. They scored 136 points in that game. They beat the Pacers 136 to 121. I think it was one of the first games that Andrew Nembhard had came back, and they had actually kept it close for just a second. They were 6-point favorites in that game, though, back on December the 1st. The total finished with 257 points, so the over taking steam makes a lot of sense in my opinion here. And that line was set at 243.5. So of course this one's gonna open a little bit higher. Memphis has actually covered 7 straight against the Pacers. For whatever reason, they can beat the Pacers. It's like they're a better version of the Pacers. Both of these teams like to run. Both of these teams like to get downhill and attack the rim, like to live in the mid-range. Memphis they finished a lot stronger. They lost the second leg of that back-to-back after beating the Suns. They end up playing the Clippers and losing that game, but they finished 7-3 before the break. Lost 2 of their last 3 though. They also lost to OKC after beating Phoenix, like I talked about. It's the first leg of a back-to-back for Memphis. They got a game against Orlando tomorrow. And like I said, as far as the Pacers go, they finished 6-4 before the All-Star break. They beat Washington, but even then that had to take overtime after losing to the Knicks and losing to the Lakers. They only 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. They played 8 of their last 10 games over the total because their defense hasn't been as prevalent. including 4 straight overs, and they don't play again until the 23rd, which is when is the 23rd? On tomorrow's Friday, so they don't play again until Sunday. So the Pacers they got that on their side, is that they, are the home dog. Pacers as home dogs, when I looked into that, only 2-4 straight up, 2-4 against the spread, 6-0 to the over. So the Pacers don't play defense when they're a home dog, but they do play offense. This season, when I looked at teams that are road favorites that also previously beat the team, so it's a revenge spot for the home team, it hasn't been profitable taking that home dog this season. 69-27 straight up, 24-8 straight up if it's a non-conference game, 22-10 to the over as well. That says that you take the over. It says that you take the Memphis Grizzlies in this spot. I don't feel too confident in this one way or another. I think I do lean Memphis, but it's not a game that I'm playing. I kind of want to see how these teams come out after the break. So I'll stay off of Memphis. There was another thing I wanted to look at real quick, just kind of refresh my memory. Let's see. I just want to see the Grizzlies. In non-conference games. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was. So the Grizzlies are really good in non-conference games. 16-4 straight up, 16-4 against the spread, 16-3-1 to the over are the Memphis Grizzlies. 127 is what they're averaging in these non-conference games. If you add that they're on the road, 7-2 straight up, 7-2 against the spread, 8-1 to the over, averaging 126 points. The last time that they lost a non-conference game was against the Knicks. They only scored 106, and they lost to the Nets, scored 104 back on November the 4th at the beginning of the season. But they put up 142 against the Bulls, 127 against the Celtics, 140 against the Wizards, 128 against the Hawks, 132 against the Bucks, and 138 against the Raptors. So 7 straight overs, 8-1 to the over, 7-2 straight up and against the spread. So I guess the over is the best play. I'm not touching the total. That's 250 though. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Lean Memphis, did not play the game. Let's see what we're thinking about this one. Jared Jackson Jr. over his 21.5 points for Charles. I can see that. D Boogie says Pacers +2 and money line. Bane is a cashing machine. Bane is good, Adam. Not sure how you're playing him, but I want to write Desmond Bane's name down and see if I can potentially make a play on Desmond Bane. I also like Jared Jackson Jr., like Charles said. Jared Jackson Jr. I feel like is very underrated. But yeah, I think I like the Desmond Bane look in some capacity, just because I know what the pace is going to be played in this game. And real quick, I'll give you guys some pace numbers real quick for these two teams. So we got Memphis and Indiana. So Memphis is first in pace on the full season. First in pace last 5 games before the All-Star break. Pacers actually slowed it down. They're 7th in pace for the full season, 12th in pace over the last 5 games. So Pacers have been playing a little bit slower basketball. Okay. Mark says he got -2 and under 252. Okay. Siakam over his 3.5 assists, and I think that's supposed to be Halliburton over 11.5 rebounds and assists. Stan says he could take Memphis at -3. Swish says Pacers +2.5. Memphis on the road aren't Grizzlies at all. Yeah, I think that I think you missed everything I just said. Maybe I said it after you said this, Swish, but yeah, they've been good on the road, especially in non-conference games. 7-2 straight up, 7-2 against the spread if they're on the road in the non-conference game. They just can't be stopped from scoring. They average 127 points if I round up. Tasha says she'll take the Pacers. Desmond Bane points over for God's gift. Indy catching points at the crib. They flourish. They don't, Charles. That's the thing. Like people think one thing. It don't work that way. Pacers are not profitable as a home dog. Pacers are 2-4 straight up, 2-4 against the spread as a home dog. They lost to the Celtics at the beginning of the season. Oh no, they beat the Celtics at the beginning of the season. They beat the Knicks at the beginning of the season. Since then, they've lost 4 straight. They lost to the Thunder, didn't cover. Lost to the Bucks, didn't cover. Lost to the Cavs, didn't cover. Lost to the Knicks, didn't cover. Last 4 games, not profitable. For the full season, not profitable. So I know we got a lot of opinions, but that's why I like to have the data here. Grizzlies -2 for Brian. In Memphis, I trust. Natalie says, I'm thinking Grizzlies money line at under 250. Lean over. Pacers money line for D-Bookie. Jared Jackson Jr. over 1, 2, 3-pointers. Looks tempting. Derek says Pacers my team, but I like our bounce back tonight, especially with Miles Turner back. Malik says 250 is wow. Don't hate it though. I would be worried about Pacers team total, if anything, based off some of the stuff I read on jaXon. Okay. What up to my guy Chad? He says Grizzlies smash here. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards as well, Chad. I would put Memphis on the short list here. Yeah, I think it's a Memphis spot. I know the Pacers are good. I get all that, but I think the Memphis Grizzlies are better. And I got the numbers to kind of back it in this spot. Profitable versus non-profitable stuff. So yeah, that's the way I'm looking. Only way I'm looking. Next game. Let's go Cavs and Nets. Not a game that I bet. But I kind of do like the total. It's on the move. It's up to 225 now, and I agree with the movement going up. I didn't bet it. Probably should have got in at 222.5. So if we go to injury report real quick. We look at the injury report. First, I saw Killian Hayes sign with the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's food on defense. D'Angelo Russell also food on defense still as well. It got Cam Johnson back, but still no Cam Thomas. On the Cleveland Cavaliers side of things, they did just sign Javonte Green and Ty Jerome. I don't know. I'm not sure if Javonte Green is going to play or not, but they got Ty Jerome listed as game time decision. It's a calf injury. And then Isaac Okoro is also listed game time decision. No Dean Wade. And the one thing that really made me want to look towards the over in this game was just the Cavs as road favorites, double-digit road favorites. They have been profitable for the most part. They did fail to cover against the Philadelphia 76ers back on November the 13th at the beginning of the season, and then they also failed to cover against the Wizards, but they were laying 17.5 points in that game. The reason why I like the over is because when the Cavs are double-digit road favorites, they are 4-1 to the over, and their games are going over by about 8 points per game. They're averaging 237 points in those games. And I know that the Nets play slow. I know that the Nets are a defensive team. The Nets have actually been playing some pretty good basketball, but I do think that it's been against a little bit of an easier schedule. So let me just put some numbers to it real quick. I know Cleveland is going to want to play fast. They're going to want to get out and run. Let's see. So Brooklyn is number 1 in defensive efficiency last 5 games, but they also playing at the slowest pace. So your defense is going to look a little better when it's inflated because of the pace that you're playing at. Now, on the opposite side, and they've also played the 3rd easiest schedule, or to have the Brooklyn Nets. On the opposite side, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, we're looking at the 7th best offensive efficiency team last 5 games, number 1 on the full season, 10th best defensive efficiency, 8th on the full season, playing at the 4th fastest pace. So they're going to play a lot faster than what Brooklyn wants to play at. And that's all against the 21st most difficult schedule, or you could say the 10th easiest schedule last 5 games. So yeah, that one trend just kind of jumped out to me a lot. I think, whenever you have D'Lo in, you typically want to look a little bit more towards the over. And I think that Cleveland can score in this game. I do think that they're going to be able to take advantage of Brooklyn defensively. I think Cleveland can pretty much take advantage of anybody defensively. And I don't think this game can be played that slow. So I lean a little bit more towards the over, even at 225. That's the only way that I would play this one, is up and over the total. The Cavs are 4-1 to their team total over as well as a road favorite, laying double digits, and they are laying 13 points in this spot. So I lean over. Didn't play the game though. And I would also probably lean a little bit more towards the Cavs. I think that they can continue to blow teams out, even as a 13-point favorite. I think that they can get the job done. They are they went to the break 8-2 straight up, 6-4 against the spread, including a 3-game winning streak, 2-game covering streak, 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games, including 3 straight overs, and scoring at least 128 points in the last 3 games. It is the first leg of a back-to-back though. Got the Knicks coming to town tomorrow, so road home back-to-back. Then they got Memphis coming to town as well. So Brooklyn has been, like I said, playing some pretty good basketball. They've covered 6 of their last 7, 9-1 to the under in their last 10. Something just tell me this one goes over though. Maybe Cleveland isn't as focused defensively because they know they got the Knicks coming up tomorrow too. So yeah, I think it's a little bit more of an over game though. Let's see what we are thinking here, if anything at all. Adam says, look at Holly threes. I'll take a look. Dante says, looking at the historical matchup, changing to under 249 and leaning Memphis spot. Cavs roll, no chance I bet it. Chad says. Mark says, this is the one he got 222.5 on 2 days ago. I like it, Mark. I like it a lot. I think the game goes up and over as well. What's up, Daniel? Appreciate you. Definitely trying to win. I bet the Cavs, but I don't love it. Nets defense number 1 last 5 games. That's a fact, Adam. They are number 1. However, the Nets defense has also played against the 3rd easiest strength of schedule. So if we just look at, excuse me, if we just look at who the Nets played against, they played against the Sixers. They caught the Sixers with no rest. They caught the Hornets with no rest. So the Hornets were on the second leg of a back-to-back. The Sixers were on the second leg of a back-to-back. They did beat the Heat. I think this was the game Tyler Hero missed though, because they did end up beating the Heat as well. They also beat the Wizards. So I mean, like, who did they really beat? They did beat the Rockets. I give them credit for that, but they also caught the Rockets in a bad spot. 2 days of rest to none. So they've caught in their last 5 games, 3 of their opponents have been unrested. The Rockets were unrested. The Hornets were unrested. The Sixers were unrested. So, and then they played the Wizards and the Hornets and the 76ers. So I don't give them too much credit, but I understand what you're saying, Adam. This is not that though. Cavs are not those teams. LJ says Cavs team total over on the road is very profitable. I like it. Tasha likes Evan Mobley over his 17.5 points. Goated says Mobley double in this spot. Nets team total under's been money, Dante says. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of the last 5 games, they've gone under their team total, and they have failed to score more than 102 points in 5 straight games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 straight games. But yeah, I mean, just playing Nets unders in general has been profitable. 31 and 23 to the under so far this season, 42%. And if you add that they're a home dog, I think it's even better than that. Yeah, 17 and 9 to the under. 34.6% of their games have actually gone over. So yeah, 65.4% of their games have stayed under the total at home. Let's see if you add a home dog and that they're getting 10 points. Double-digit home dog at the crib, 4-2 to the under. They're averaging 98 points, giving up 116, 0-6 straight up, 1-5 against the spread. So yeah, I think it's a Cavs spot. I don't like that the Cavs got the Knicks tomorrow, but I think it's a Cavs spot. I think that they do what they want to do with this Brooklyn Nets team. And this trend backs it up. Nets is home dogs. Nets is double-digit home dogs, 1-5 ATS. All these losses have been by 14 points or more, except the one that they covered. They lost by 4 to the Knicks. All right, so that's that. Tasha says Donovan Mitchell over 25.5 points. Charles says Cavs take Cavs live if they start slow. I like that. Adam says, how about looking at any trends towards unders after the All-Star break? I talked about that already, Adam. And this, I mean, tell me what you want to see, but overall in general, you do start to see teams play defense. So there were a few more under trends last year before the All-Star break. So you're the second person that asked about it. So I'll just tell you what the numbers were. So this season, totals were, so far this season, before the All-Star break, totals were 421, 30, 381, and 12 to the over. 52.5% of games so far this season went over the total. So we go back to last season. After the All-Star break, totals were 870, 894, and 12 to the under. I'm sorry, to the over, which means that totals were 49%. So it's not super, it's not anything too crazy, but totals were more unders than overs after the break last year. Yeah, more unders than overs last year after the All-Star break. Cass says, can we look up road versus home ATS the day teams come back after All-Star break last 5 years or so? Let's look at that. So we'll go back to 2021. I like to use 2021 as a reference for whatever reason. And then 2018. So 2021, look up road teams versus home teams, ATS. So in month equals 2 and rest is greater than or equal to 5. And home, road. So home teams after the All-Star break last 5 years are 21, 25, and 2 against the spread. So about 45.7% are home teams. Road teams actually perform a little bit better. 23, 20, and 1. 53.5% ATS. And we have seen more unders than overs. 50% for home teams as far as totals go, 23, 23, and 2. And then road teams are 25, 17, and 2 to the under. It's about 60%. Oh man. So yeah, hope that helped, Chad. Hope that helps. Adam says tired legs after a long break, maybe. I think sometimes it's just rhythm and continuity. That's what we saw last night with the Lakers and for the Charlotte Hornets as well. Teams that can't shoot the basketball from 3, like the Hornets, they definitely not gonna be able to shoot the 3. Oh, Bobby Portis just got suspended 25 games for violating the league's anti-drug policy. Damn. That's crazy. That's big. Okay, all right. Let's see. What up to my guy Fred? Like the Cleveland Brooklyn over. Naeli says Cavs halftime, full time, and Cam Johnson over his points. Old Faithful, first quarter for the Nets. for Marquise. What up, G421? Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate that for sure. Jose says he liked the Nets team total under. Anthony saying the same thing. Cleveland minus 13, but don't really want to start laying big chalk. And the Nets too unpredictable, Brian says. Yeah, just remember that strength of schedule has been pretty bad recently. Guys, Gift says he likes the over. DJ Pop just put it in the chat. What up, Dropping Dimes? Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact, Chad. Booster says, what do you think of Nets has 104 or less points? I don't know what their team total is. 104 is low, but this team doesn't score a lot of points. So is their team total 104? Let's see. Nah, it's 106.5, so I wouldn't touch 104. Indigo says, since 2010, road favorites, the game after the All-Star break, 54-19 straight up, 45-28, 45 and 28 against the spread, 47-24 and 2 to the over. Yeah, I had a trend like this I shared on Cal Show yesterday, Indigo, that if you tailed it, it didn't work out for you because it said Lakers, which I wasn't ever laying that many points with the Lakers. And it also said over, and that game flew underneath the total from the tip. So, yeah, that's just my thought process there. Road teams being more locked in was the theory in this spot. I guess it was slightly, yeah. I don't think it really shows too much. I mean, you know how to cap games in a really like profitable manner, and I think that's just what you do. You just take the team that has the revenge if you think that they are going to win, or at least play with that intensity. And I'm gonna talk about that in one of the next couple games. But yeah, I don't think it's always that. I think I like the Cavs in this spot, but I'm probably not gonna bet it. Good morning, Miranda. She says Darius Garland over his 25.5 points and assists. That makes a ton of sense. I'm probably gonna write that down. Darius Garland over 25.5 points and assists. Or I think aren't the Nets like really good against the pick and roll? I think they are really good against the pick and roll. But he should be able to cook D'Angelo Russell and Killian Hayes. So I like it. Couldn't talk you off. Bobby Porter's tripping. All right, let's go to the next game. We got the Bulls and the Knicks. Bulls and the Knicks. So the total came down from 244.5 down to 244. I see some 243s out there, and the spread came down from 13.5 down to 12. So somebody out there in this world that we live in, and it's a crazy world that we live in, they're putting their hard-earned money on the Bulls. It's something that I probably won't do the rest of the season. As long as we have, and I'm not even gonna force it if we just got a Bulls game, but I'm not playing Bulls games. It's just not something that I have an appetite for. No Bulls diet is still in a very strong effect for me. So let me just update this to reflect what we have in the market right now. So we do have a spot here where you could say it's a Knicks, a Bulls spot, right? And a couple reasons. So Patrick Williams is listed out for the Bulls. The Knicks will be without Josh Hart. OG Anunoby is listed as questionable with a foot injury. If they don't have both of those guys, then it could be tougher. Also, Mitchell Robinson, he's not playing, but he did go through, I think, 5-on-5 practice yesterday. I think I saw one of their beat writers tweet that out. So Mitchell Robinson is about to make a return. Couple different ways I kind of feel like you could play this game. And none of which I'll be playing. But when I look at the Bulls, they're a 3-point happy team. All they want to do is shoot threes. And recently their 3-point shots have not been falling. That's one of the reasons they've been absolutely getting steamrolled. It's because they can't make threes. Now the Knicks, we know that they're not a good 3-point defense. This is a very poor defense. They actually went into the break as the third worst defense. Third worst defensive rating of 123.6 in their last 5 games. The Bulls actually went into the All-Star break, the worst defensive team in the NBA, 127.1 defensive rating. 25th in offensive efficiency as well, though. That's what I meant. Like the Bulls are on the full season a really good 3-point shooting team. Last 5 games before the break, though, not so much. So full season, second in 3-point frequency. They chuck. All the Bulls want to do is chuck threes. 43.8% of their shots come from the 3-point line. And they shoot it well, 37%, which is 11th in the NBA. Last 5 games, however, 25th in 3-point accuracy, shooting just 32.8% from the 3-point line. Now, the reason why that's problematic for the Knicks is that the Knicks are, I talked about them being a bad 3-point defense. The place that they're the worst from is the 3-point line. On the full season, the worst 3-point defense in the NBA, allowing teams to shoot almost 39%. Ranks dead last, and last 5 games, 25th in 3-point accuracy. So there are some things that point to, if you think the Bulls are able to score the basketball, if you think the Bulls are able to knock down 3-point shots, I would say take them in this spot. They should be, able to keep the game within 12 points. Maybe I'm not something that I'm putting my money on though. And here's the reason why, especially if you're new to the show. If you go through the Bulls' last 10 games. They have failed to cover 4 in a row against the Grizzlies, against the Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, and back-to-back double-digit beatdowns to the Detroit Pistons. Before that, they beat the Miami Heat by 9 as a 3.5-point favorite. They lost to Detroit again. They beat Toronto. They lost to Boston by 22 as a 14-point dog. They beat the Denver Nuggets by 8 as a 9.5-point home dog, and then they lost to Philly by 3.5. They lost to Philly by 12 as a 3.5-point favorite. So, yeah, this is a Bulls team that's really Jekyll and Hyde. When I look back, though, this is the crazy thing about the Bulls. When I look back at their last 10 games, they've only covered 3 spreads. 2 of the 3 spreads that they covered was when I actually bet against them. So it's very clear that I don't know how to cap Bulls games. If I take the Bulls to win or to lose, they always win. But if I try to fade them, then they play the greatest basketball ever. I took them against the Denver Nuggets. I vividly remember that game. They couldn't miss a shot. Scored 129 points. Looked great. Then I took them against Toronto. In Toronto. Toronto had won 5 straight games, I think. They come out, drop 122 on Toronto. And haven't won a game since, outside of the Miami game. So very clear distinction for me to just not bet Bulls games, not if I want my bankroll to continue to grow. So that's my thought process. I put in my notes, Bulls are trash, but they've covered and won outright both games versus the Knicks this season. They actually covered 4 of their last 5 games against the Knicks, dating back to last season. They played 4 straight overs, including this season, against the Knicks specifically. And then, like I said, for the Knicks, this is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Cavs tomorrow. They went into the All-Star break 8-2 straight up, 5-5 against the spread, specifically because their defense has been pretty terrible. 8-2 to the over as well, including 6 straight overs for the Knicks. So I'm not playing this game, but I do think a look maybe towards Precious Achiuwa to go over his rebound prop, especially if OG doesn't play. He's going to, I think, get the minutes for somebody like Josh Hart. I think it'll just be extra minutes for Precious Achiuwa. And the Bulls are one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA. So probably a look towards Precious to go up and over his props in this game, but not anything that I played. I really just wanted to kind of skip over this game, but I wanted to give y'all something. Adam says, come on, Knicks, double revenge, man. Yeah, they are. They do have double revenge. And what's crazy is I was on the Bulls the first time that they played the Knicks. I remember the spot. It was back on November the 13th. They beat them 124-123 in New York at the Garden, getting 8.5 points. I think we ended up getting a +9. And Knicks were on fire in that game. The Bulls were on fire in that game, scored 124 points. And the Knicks won the second leg of a back-to-back, and they had to travel. That was one of the reasons why I liked the spot for the Bulls. And then the second game was, I think, Derrick Rose jersey retirement night. And the Knicks were traveling cross country. I think they had just played. It was the second leg of a back-to-back again. I think they were playing against. It was on a Saturday. I vividly remember on a Saturday. They were playing. I can't remember who they were playing before, but Chicago. The Knicks were traveling from the West Coast. It was like the Timberwolves or the Nuggets or somebody that was really good, and they beat them, I think. And then they went to Chicago and got lit up. Gave up 139. So if you think the Bulls going to be able to knock down shots, I would just take over. I do think the Knicks are going to be able to score the basketball too. So I would probably look towards the over. Like I said, 4 straight overs in the head-to-head. Both games this season has gone up and over to 232 and the 238.5. Miranda says she's going to play Kobe White over his 19.5 points. I feel like it's too low. Going for the pride here. Okay. Daniel says he likes Bulls game over. LJ says Knicks at home, ATS versus the East, very profitable. Bulls are tanking. But do they win by 13 though? Because that's what you need here, LJ. My thoughts right here, Tasha. Couldn't agree with you more. Dean says he likes Vooch over his 10 boards. Chi-Town says no more Bull. Joseph says Bulls free diet for me, Charles. Bulls free diet for me. 0 interest from Chad. Double-digit spreads. Hell no less equals the 76ers and the Chicago Bulls. I like it. No reason to take the Bulls here, she says. I just gave you some reasons, but I'm not doing it. Let's see. Pistons. I'm not reading that. What else we got here? Cat does have a great matchup versus Vooch. Is a cone. Yeah, that's a fact. Nayeli says, I hate the Bulls, but I might be on the Bulls. Plus 12. No heart. Bulls spot. Plus 12. Knicks is the thing. Even more now, Chris. Never covered Knicks. Best of luck to you, my brother. Best of luck to you. I'll play props here, but I'm not taking, not looking at the Bulls to cover, Malik says. Okay. So Chicago guy, not looking for the Bulls to cover. Appreciate you, Malik. Jackson does like the Knicks minus the 12. Cat over is 27.5 points. Best bet, Lingowick says. Okay. It makes sense. I think Cat should have a big game as well. All right, let's go to the next one. We got Magic and the Hawks. So I got a play in this game. Actually, really close to making 2 plays in this game. So we got the Magic on the road. They will be in Atlanta tonight. This total opened 220.5. It's up to 222.5, and 1.5 was what Orlando was laying, and it's actually come down now to -1. There's still some 1.5s out there, so I guess consensus is still -1.5, but total has moved up a little bit. So we look at the injury report. First thing that sticks out to me is that Jalen Suggs is still hurt with that quad injury, man. I don't want anything to do with this Orlando Magic team without Jalen Suggs. He is still out. On the opposite side, Trae Young is listed as probable. He's probably going to play. He has been playing. Larry Nash Jr. has been ruled out. Reevaluated in 6 weeks due to a non-displaced fracture in his right knee. And Krejci is also listed as out in this game as well. So the Orlando Magic are one of the teams in the Eastern Conference that I do expect to go on a run, right? Like I fully expect this team to not finish with a losing record. Right now they're 27-29. So I do expect some desperation from this Orlando Magic team, but I also want, and I do expect Atlanta to take a step back. Atlanta is a half a game behind the Orlando Magic at 26-29. So right now Orlando is in 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. They've been pretty terrible, just 4-6 in their last 10 games. I was reading something last night that said they had actually lost 18 of their last 25 games. So they only 7-18, I think, straight up in their last 25 games, which is pretty telling. You kind of feel like you're catching the falling knife with the Orlando Magic. So I really want to take Orlando, but I'm going to stay off the side there. Atlanta did just beat them 112-106, so you got a little bit of revenge. They were 6.5 point road dogs in that spot. The game was played in Orlando on February the 10th, so about actually 10 days ago. It did stay under the total of 220.5 as well. And Atlanta has actually covered 3 straight games against the Orlando Magic and 8 of the last 10. So for whatever reason, Atlanta has had the Orlando Magic's number. 4 straight unders in the head-to-head matchup. I mentioned Orlando being 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. They've alternated wins and losses in their last 6. And as I also mentioned, first leg of a back-to-back, they got the Grizzlies coming to town tomorrow. So short flight from Atlanta to Orlando for them to take on the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow. I kind of feel like you got to go all out. I don't think that they're going to beat Memphis tonight. And they do need to win this game because you probably end up losing to Memphis tomorrow. Memphis is really good on the second leg of back-to-backs. The Atlanta team is 4-6 straight up, 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. I think that is the best ATS record going into the break. And they do have 1 extra day of rest after the game before they host the Detroit Pistons in a few days. So a couple things I looked at in this one. We'll go back over to Outlier. I really want to take Orlando, but like I said, I'm not messing with Orlando when they don't have Jalen Suggs. I think he means that much. I was looking at something that said that with Jalen Suggs on the floor, along with Paolo and Franz, they're plus 8.1 in net rating, but they don't have that tonight. And without it, I'm a little bit afraid to take them, especially with Atlanta being 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. But that's just my thought process. I also lean under. I think I gave you guys some strong trends towards the under already. I think the total is not going the right way. I would think that this total should go under. I think Orlando will be better defensively, and their offense could potentially still struggle. So, what did I say? The last 4 head-to-head matchups have all stayed under. The last game that they just played on the 10th only finished with 218 points. And then there was something that I looked at. Oh, I know what it was. It was excuse me. It was Magic as road favorites. So the Magic have been road favorites 11 times this season. They're 10-1 to the under. Games are averaging 202 points. The Magic unders on the road as a favorite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 straight unders. And none of them have had a total this high. So I lean under, even though the total's going up. 10-1 to the under is something I can't ignore here. As far as player props, because I'm already over here on Outlier, what I'm looking at here is so when that game was just played on the 10th, we looked at a couple different things. We actually played Trae Young under. For people who remember, we played him under, I think it was 38.5 or 37.5 points and assists. I like that again. But I'm also looking at Onyeka Okongwu under on his points plus rebounds. I played this, sent it out to the members. Excuse me. 23.5 is the number for Onyeka Okongwu today. My head is hurting. Onyeka Okongwu is now thrust into like the starting rotation. Now that Clint Capella is coming off the bench, but we'll see. His minutes over his last 10 games have continuously increased. If you go down here and look at it, we can see that he's playing about 29 minutes over his last 10 games. He did play 40 minutes here against the Knicks. This game did go to overtime. So you can see he's playing about 30 minutes. Actually, only if you take out this game as an outlier because of the overtime, he only has 1 game where he's played about 30 minutes. So we look at last 5. You see 30.8, but a lot of that is here in this 40-minute game. He just has a really terrible matchup, in my opinion, here. So you look at head-to-head. Against Orlando, when they just played, he didn't play in the first matchup. Well, actually, the first matchup of the season was the last matchup. You can see that they shut him down, right? I talked about this on the show. If you go back and watch that show from the last time, it was the same analysis. I just didn't bet it. 9 points and 7 rebounds is what Onyeka Okongwu finished with. So his points today are listed at 13 and a half. And you can see he only had 9. And then his rebounds are listed at 9 and a half. And he only had 7. So I'm expecting him to get a few more rebounds in this spot. But if we go back to points plus rebounds, the reason why, the reason why I like this is because Onyeka Okongwu is actually only gotten 23 and a half points and rebounds in one of his 13 games this season when he's playing against teams that are really good in the restricted area. The Orlando Magic are elite in the restricted area. They're, I think, the best team in the NBA as far as giving up points in the paint. So I do think that he's going to struggle to score the basketball. And as the pick and roll man, they actually do a really good job as well. Then when you factor in the pace, that they're a very slow paced team. They don't want to play fast at all. The Orlando Magic, I think we see a little bit more of an under game. So yeah, I like Onyeka Okongwu under his points and assists in this one. Actually, one of my favorite player props on the board for today. Even with the minutes, I think Onyeka goes under. So he gets number 1 against points in the restricted area, which is what I like the most. And they also play super slow. I think second slowest paced team. So I take Onyeka Okongwu under his 23 and a half points and assists. Actually 24 and a half is what I got. 23 and a half is consistent, but it's a 24 and a half out there. I played the 24 and a half. When I look at Trae Young, really quickly, I do like Trae Young to still go under as well. I know he's coming off a really big game against the Knicks in the Garden, but he always tries his best to get up for the Knicks in the Garden. So points and assists for Trae Young, 36 and a half. I think some 36.7s and a half out there as well. You can see this open at 38 and a half, and it's been just bought. Like, people are buying the under 37 and a half, 36 and a half, back up to 37 and a half, back down to 36 and a half. So I wish I would have got to this 38 and a half. I didn't see this a couple days ago, but it makes sense, right? This Orlando Magic team, you can see it here. They don't give up a ton of points. They don't give up a ton of assists either. When they played early this season, you can see only at 27. We took him under 37 and a half, I think, in this matchup. He had 19 points and 8 assists. He shot 35%, 6 for 17 from the field, and 1 for 8 from the 3-point line, just 13%. I think we continue to see him struggle. Trae Young struggle against a really good defense. So I like Trae Young under 36 and a half points and assists. I also like Onyeka Okongwu under. I bet Onyeka Okongwu under. I didn't bet Trae Young under yet. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this game. Also lean under too. I do think it's a little bit more of an under game. Just didn't bet it. Excuse me. Let's see what we are thinking about this one. Chad says, really hate that Suggs isn't back yet. I agree, Chad. I really want Orlando. Brian says Orlando might want to have Suggs play. He's not playing. Yeah, he's out. I like Atlanta. They own this team, but look at Trae Young under his points. Bad matchup for him. Just talked about that. Adam knows. Hot TV Grit says Hawks win margin 1-10. Joe says considering Atlanta since last year in revenge in regular season Magic 5-12 against the spread. ATS away between the line of 3. So if Magic don't win close games, it's a revenge game since the beginning of last season, is what Joe is saying. Okay. AN says Franz over his 27.5 points seems high. No way he keeps shooting nearly 50% on almost 30 shots. I mean, Ugh. Who Atlanta got to stop them though? Like, if we look at Atlanta defensively, I feel like Atlanta, they're 9-1 against the spread because their offense has gotten so much. It feels like their offense is like gotten better. I think Trae Young being snubbed from the All-Star game before he ended up actually making it, and Giannis got ruled out, was a big part of that, in my opinion. When we look at Orlando, like, well, no, I take it back. The defensively, they've been good too. They're the 10th best, 14th best defense, 10th best offensive rated team over the last 5 games. On the full season, that's a big jump. Offensive rating went from a 112 on the full season, which is 21st, to 118 last 5 games, which is 10th. Defensively, 14th defensively, and they're playing at the fastest pace in the NBA over the last 5 games. Number 2 in pace over the full season. The Magic, 28th in pace last 5 games, 29th in pace on the full season. 8th best defensive rated team last 5 games, 21st in offensive efficiency. And strength of schedule for Atlanta, 24th, and 17th for Orlando. So I've been playing against Atlanta has been playing against some cupcakes, I guess we could say. Miranda says she cares LeVert over his 12.5 points and Franz over his 26.5, and Atlanta money line. Okay. Still can't rely on the Magic to score the basketball. Can't do it, Charles. I can't do it. Nally says if Tricky Trae plays, then Hawks money line, but if no Trae, then Magic -2. Okay. I can see it. Mark says he leans Atlanta, but need Trae in. What up, Jacob? Yeah, I said flu dropping down. I don't think I got the flu though. If I'm being honest, I don't think I got the flu. I think I just got an upper respiratory, maybe infection or something, like with swollen lymph nodes or something. But a couple times ago, like maybe sometime last year, it was a lot of recommendations given out on what I should do to, get better. I heard everything from putting an onion in your sock to chewing a clove of garlic to oregano oil. I'm a very holistic person in general. Like, I take a bunch of just minerals and supplements and vitamins. So yeah, I'm doing all this stuff. I think the most important thing is just rest, and I'm getting right back into bed after I do the show. Jacob says, Onyeka Okongwu under rebounds and assists, the play of the day. Caruso, just tell me on that. Glad you like it, Jacob. That's what I played. Rebounds and assists. Rebounds and assists. I played points and rebounds under. I like it a little bit more. Let's see. Who is Caruso? I don't know who Caruso is. Okongwu over 2.5 assists. I left the assists out. I don't care how many assists he get. I think he had 5 against the Knicks last game. I like it, Jason. I didn't play it yet, but I do like it. Under 30. If I could, I want to find a 37.5, and I think there's a couple available out there on some of the smaller books. But I do like it. I think Trae's gonna struggle, and I think the pace is gonna be really slow. So I do like it. Nally says she's gonna play Trae over his assists. I don't like that. And Trae over his points. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't think so. Just regular season games. My fault, Joe. Atlanta +1. Fade the Magic. So a lot of people liking Atlanta in this spot. Appreciate you, DJ. Yeah, we just talked about the Bobby Portis news. That's crazy. No nasal spray, Tasha. No nasal spray. Nothing over the counter. More like this: the apple cider, the ginger, the honey. That's all in this glass right here, man. That's all in my mug right here. Not all of it, not the apple cider, but I got some apple cider upstairs. The ginger and the honey, though, for sure. Magic or nothing, Chad says. I'm right there with you, man. Magic gonna eventually get right. I'm just not sure if it's gonna be right now. So I'll stay off. I do lean under. That's the side that I want to be on more than the Magic. Is probably the under. And I did play the Onyeka under his rebounds and points plus rebounds at 24.5 is what I got. So that's one of my official plays here. So I'm giving out 2, even though the show has been an hour already. I need to speed up a little bit. This is one that I don't have a strong opinion on. Need to do a little bit more work on it. The Clippers and the Bucks. So line open with the Bucks laying 2, and now it's moved to Clippers laying 2.5 on the road, which is pretty interesting, being that the Clippers are not the greatest road team in the NBA, and the total has actually gone up from 225.5 to 228.5. So I did see that the beat reporters tweeted out yesterday that Giannis said, he went through practice yesterday and he'll see how close he is to 100%, if he's going to play or not, and blah, 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 blah. Dame being listed as questionable with a hamstring injury is, I guess, interesting. Kawhi Leonard also pops up on the injury report. But he should be good to go. Yeah, I think Kawhi should be good to go. So we'll see what happens with I don't think Kawhi should be on the injury report, but the one I'm looking at does have him listed. Bobby Portis support, of course, has now been ruled out, and Andre Jackson is also questionable with a wrist injury. A wrist injury. So it says that Andre Jackson is listed as questionable with a wrist injury that he suffered during the dunk contest. When I see wrist injuries, I automatically want to look towards the person points to go under. Pretty sure he was dunking with his strong hand. So that's something I'll add to my list. Is Andre Jackson. If we get his props, maybe you're looking towards an under for Andre Jackson. But like I said, this isn't a game that I look too deeply into. Not one that I really wanted to bet. I will give you guys a couple things. So the Clippers did just beat the Bucks 127-117 is a 3.5-point home favorite. We were on the Clippers in that spot. The total did go up and over to 226.5 in that game. They won 127-117. So I guess I agree with the money coming in on the over here. Clippers went into the break. It's kind of all over the place. 6-4 straight up, 4-6 against the spread in their last 10. They did win their last 3 games before the break, but just 2 of those. But 2 of those did come against the Utah Jazz. 8-2 to the over in their last 10 games, including 4 straight overs for the Clippers. On the Bucks side of things, 4-6 straight up, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. First leg of a back-to-back. They play the Wizards tomorrow in DC. So I'm not too much of a fan of laying points with the Clippers on the road. I feel like they're a much better team at home. They are 6-3 straight up, but only 4-5 against the spread. As a road favorite this season, they failed to cover their last 2. They failed to cover against the Hornets, failed to cover against the Raptors. Actually lost that game outright. The Bucks have been a home dog 3 times. They're 1-2 straight up, 1-2 against the spread, 2-1 to the over. Lost to the Celtics, beat the Sixers, and then lost to the Warriors. Let's just look a little bit deeper. Like I said, it's not a game I want to spend too much time on. Not one that I want to bet either. So Clippers have played the 6th easiest schedule. Clippers have played the 6th easiest schedule last 5 games. 14th in offensive rating, 17th in defensive rating, 18th in pace. Bucks are 18th in offensive rating, 18th in defensive rating. So middle of the pack, both of those. 10th in pace against the 18th strongest strength of schedule. I just honestly don't. I know I'm not betting this game. With Dame being listed as questionable, he's going to change. The line. I think that Giannis could potentially not play. I don't think they want to risk his health. Remember, he set out in the All-Star game. He set out the last couple games before the All-Star break as well. So maybe that money for the Clippers is the right side, but not a game that I'm interested in betting, no. Let's see. I'll look into the key line for sure, D-Boogie. I never heard I never used key line before. But definitely ginger. I got a bunch of ginger. So appreciate that. Chad likes the Clippers. He says Clippers. Mark also likes the Clippers. He got on them +1.5. Ty Lue, the better coach, Mosey said. Adam says he got Clippers +1 last night. Pass for me. I'll still take the Bucks if either Dame or Giannis plays. Jacob got Clippers as well. Mark says I might hit it again. Yeah, we like the Clippers a lot. Okay. Dean says whenever they drop Gary Trent lines, I'm taking his points over. Norman Powell over his points and assists. No Giannis. Clips. Giannis hasn't been ruled out yet, though, Tasha. Fade the Bucks tonight. Take them to smash tomorrow, Adam says. Clippers and Suns parlay. Some situational underdogs switch to favorites. I've cashed big time. I've cashed big every time, Natalie says. Clippers money line. So a lot of people like the Clippers. Bucks regardless for Kevin, though. He says he's going to take the Bucks. Okay. I wouldn't take the Bucks without knowing who's going to play in this game. I don't know how much they're going to punt, but no Bobby Portis is going to suck for them. Dame being listed as questionable. I don't know who's going to play guard for them. And I do think the Clippers are the better team as currently constructed. So I guess I lean towards the Clips. Didn't play the game, though. Next one up, we got the Hornets and the Nuggets. Is this the next one up? Am I going in order? Yeah, that's right. So we got 3 games left. I actually thought about playing the 14.5 last night. This was at 13. And it was a 14.5 still available. I think was on Caesars last night. It had moved to 15 everywhere else, but I didn't play it. One of the reasons I didn't play it, I do expect the Nuggets to come out and win this game. Like, I don't think it should be that tough of an ass. The total has moved up a lot. You see 227 on the screen. This is actually up to 230. And I think it was lower than that. But it's up to 230. It's up to 230. Let's check the injury report real quick. So you got the Charlotte Hornets coming off a big win last night. I'm guessing LaMelo's gonna play on the back-to-back. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up getting ruled out. I also saw, like, anybody who stayed up and watched the whole game last night between the Lakers and the Charlotte Hornets, I saw Miles Bridges requesting another timeout so he could stretch his lower back. I got lower back pain. I've had it for a while. And it hurts. So I can imagine that it gets tighter, stiffer, after exerting all that energy. He had a really big game last night against the Lakers. So it wouldn't surprise me. I know he's not on the injury report, but it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up being listed as questionable. LaMelo being downgraded to out. I still think Denver is the right side in this game. They should be pretty healthy. Russell Westbrook went through practice yesterday. I think Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray should all be there as well. When I was looking into this yesterday, Denver, one of the hottest teams going into the break. They finished the break winning 8 straight. They covered the last 6. They got the Lakers, but they don't play until Saturday. And it's at home, so no travel look ahead at all. They went into the break, like I said, 9-1 straight up, 6-4 against the spread. They did beat Charlotte by 3 as a 12.5-point road favorite to start the month back on February the 1st. That game did stay under the 226.5. The totals are actually 7-3 to the under in the last 10 times that these teams have played. Denver 2-0 straight up and against the spread if they're a home favorite facing an opponent with no rest. Also 4-1 against the spread this season as a double-digit home favorite. They're winning these games by an average of 20 points, plus 20-plus points. Last 5 games before the All-Star break, like I said, Denver, a well-oiled machine. The best offensive rated team, 7th best defensively. That's what it's really been. Like, the defense has really picked it up. Denver has not been a great defensive team this season, but last 5 games, 7th best defensive rated team, best offense, number 1 in efficiency differential. They are plus 21 points in efficiency differential, and they have played against the 10th easiest schedule. But how hard is it to beat Charlotte? Charlotte would also probably go into one of the worst teams in the NBA. Charlotte last 5 games, they're 28th in offensive rating, 18th in efficiency rating, playing at the 2nd slowest pace against the 6th easiest schedule. So I think Denver should be able to score the basketball. Jokic should be able to do whatever he wants down low against Mark Williams. They don't have a true secondary center. Taj Gibson. We'll just, send prayers up for him if he has to guard Jokic today. And I think the big difference is the way when I think about the Lakers last night, they shot the ball decently from 3 in the first half. In the second half, none of the threes would go in. Luka looked terrible last night. That's a separate story. But and Rui Hachimura looked god awful as well. But that's a separate story. Denver and the Lakers don't profile the same way as like how they like to score the basketball. Denver is a team that likes to attack the paint. They don't shoot a ton of threes. So I do think Charlotte's gonna struggle to score. I do think Denver should be able to score. And I think that Denver wins this game. I think the best play to make, especially with the total going up, I will be looking at a Charlotte team total under. I think that's the best way to play this game. Charlotte team total under. You can get a 106.5. They scored. He scored 100 last night. I don't know if they're gonna get to, when the second leg of your back-to-back is in Denver in altitude, doesn't bode well for you, especially when you're coming off a win as a double-digit favorite. They had to exert a lot of energy last night to beat the Lakers. So I think that was their, kind of championship type game. I don't even think Denver will need to score. Their team total is 123. I don't even think they need to score 124 tonight. Wouldn't surprise me if they got there though. Let's see what the thought process is here. Nuggets by 22.5. Jacob says he played the 14.5. Jokic 10 assists, 2 steals. Jokic 10 plus assists, 2 plus steals, plus 158 same game parlay for LJ. Okay. I'm not playing assists. Franklin, I'm not playing assists. I'm just playing points and rebounds. Dean played Michael Porter Jr. over 24.5 points plus rebounds. They have been great at covering these spreads, Jacob. This is the thing that kind of held me off, and the reason why I didn't bet it last night. First of all, I just kind of want to see how some of these play after the. I want to see how these teams play after the All-Star break. So I won't be playing a bunch of bets. I'm not gonna go high volume on the first day back. But when I looked at the Hornets, I'm looking at the game last night. Hornets with no rest, 6-3 against the spread, 8-1 to the under. So they don't score a lot. They actually stay under their team total in 3 of their last 4 games. And they failed to reach 106 in 3 of their last 4 games as well. 8-1 to the under, but 6-3 against the spread. Excuse me. Defensively, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 straight games they've held their opponent under their team total as well. When they're on the second leg of a back-to-back. This is the Hornets on the second leg of a back-to-back. 6-3 straight up. 6-3 against the spread. 8-1 to the under. So yeah, I would probably be looking a little bit more towards the under now. This total is going up, but specifically a Charlotte team total under. I think that they struggle to get to 107. 106.5 is the team total right now. LJ says Hornets double-digit road favorites. Double-digit road dogs have been profitable with or without LaMelo. I think I looked at that too. Not that profitable, LJ. 5-5 against the spread. Yeah, I did look into that last night. They were 4-5, and then they won last night. So, double-digit dogs on the road specifically for the Hornets. 7-3 to the under, 5-5 against the spread, 2-8 straight up. with a win last night against the Lakers. They also beat the Pacers outright back on December the 8th. But the strong trend is under here. When I look at the Nuggets, home favorites laying double digits. They are 4-1 straight up. 4-1 against the spread. They won every game. 5-0. 5-0 to the over. Yeah, I kind of feel like this game goes. Maybe the Nuggets just score. Maybe the Nuggets team total over. We'll see how much they can dictate pace. Guys, Gift says LaMelo assists over if he plays. Nuggets allow assist allowed is terrible. That is a fact. They do allow a lot of assists. Denver shot a ton of threes. My God. Shoots a ton of threes, my guy. Kelvin says. So Denver does not shoot a ton of threes. Denver actually shoots the fewest threes of any team in the NBA. They 31.3% of their shots come from the three-point line, Kelvin. That's the fewest of any team in the NBA. Last 5 games, they are 27th in three-point frequency. 33.5% of their shot come from the three-point line. They don't shoot a ton of threes, my brother. They make them though. They are second in three-point accuracy last 5 games, 40.3%, but they don't shoot a ton of threes. Not a ton at all. They play inside out. They attack the rim a lot. Actually, if we want to profile them, they are number 1 in rim frequency. That's where they take a lot of their shots. 38% of their shots come at the rim. That's number 1 in the NBA. They shoot a lot of long mid-range shots. They're 7th there, but they don't shoot a ton of threes. They shoot the fewest corner threes, the 3rd fewest above the break threes, and overall, they shoot the fewest threes in the NBA. They don't shoot a ton of threes. Yeah, the bookie says 144 to 97. I think they blow them out. None like me says Nuggets since 2020. I've only put up more than 120 one time versus the Hornets. I think it's a little bit of an under game too. None like me. I do. If LaMelo plays plus 16.5, a sprinkle on the money line. Sheesh, Natalie. I don't think so. Appreciate you, Tasha. It says, we're thankful for you, Chris, and love you. Your health is more important. Tasha, trust me. If I was feeling bad, I wouldn't be on here. If I was feeling that bad, I wouldn't be on here. I would have been shut this down. I'm fine right now. Taylor, I'm using Give Me the Dog. GiveMeTheDog.com right now to run these queries. Hornets to run outright versus Denver, whether LaMelo plays or not. All right, let's get to the next one. I think Charlotte team total under is the best play in this game. Under 106.5. Spurs and Suns is the next game up, and I do need to change the line here because it has flipped to 2 now. So Spurs are now getting 2 points, and the total continues to move, right? Yeah, 238. So big jump in the total, which makes a ton of sense, right? I did play Spurs. I did play Suns yesterday when the Wemby news came out. He has been downgraded to doubtful in this game. And that means a lot. I mean, as you all probably know already, he hasn't officially been ruled out, but doubtful instead of questionable was a big, like, kind of red flag for me. On the Sun side of things, Grayson Allen is also listed. I think he's going to play. I think we just don't have an update, but he was on the injury report. It's game time decision. I think they should have everybody outside of Caleb Martin. I did see that. Cody Martin, my fault. I did see that. Bradley Beal is also listed, taken off the injury report. So he's not on the injury report either. The reason why outside of Wemby, and we got to talk about the Wemby effect, right? So this is the second meeting of the season. Phoenix did beat San Antonio already with Wemby, 104-93 back on December the 3rd. It's a 7-point home favorite. Phoenix is not in good form. 3-7 straight up, 4-6 against the spread before the break. They're 7-3 to the over before the break. and it's the start of an East Coast road trip for them. They got games against Chicago, Toronto, and Memphis coming up. On the San Antonio side, also not in good form. This team is 23-29 straight up. Only 3-7 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games before the break. They're 7-3 to the over as well. So neither one of these teams playing a lot of defense. They finished the break on a 6-game road trip. First leg of a back-to-back. They got a game against the Detroit Pistons tomorrow at home. So now we talk about the Wemby effect. Without Wemby on the floor, the Spurs are getting outscored by an average of 8.8 points per 100 possessions. With them on the floor, they're actually a plus 2.3. I'm sorry, 2.97. So almost a plus 3 with them, but a minus 9 without them. And it's a little bit of that offense and a little bit of that defense that takes a big hit. Offensively, they score 6 fewer points per possession, and defensively, they give up about 6 more points per possession. Wemby, I think the voting can actually stop right now. He is the defensive player of the year. So without having him as that anchor, I feel like Phoenix should be able to outscore the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I get it. You know, De'Aaron Fox is still there. San Antonio has a bunch of guys that can still score the basketball. This is a very deep team. I like the Spurs, actually. De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell. You got, you know, a bunch of guys that come off the bench that can score the basketball as well. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be that easy. I just feel like Phoenix needs to pick it up. And I think that this is a very winnable game for the Phoenix Suns without Victor Wembanyama being there. Phoenix should be able, when I went into it and kind of looked a little bit deeper, Phoenix should be able to knock down threes, given that they went into the break shooting the 4th most and about middle of the pack in accuracy. On the other side, San Antonio went into the break allowing the 6th most threes, and they weren't defending the 3-point line well at all. Phoenix also went into the break playing pretty bad defense themselves. They were 28th in defensive rating, but that was against the 3rd most difficult schedule. So Phoenix, they pretty much got mollywopped right before the break. If we look at the Suns before the All-Star break, I know that they were losing games left and right, but they were playing against some pretty good teams. So they lost to the Rockets, but covered the spread on the second leg of a back-to-back. They lost to the Grizzlies, lost to the Nuggets. These are all playoff teams. They beat the Jazz, lost to the Thunder, another playoff team. Kind of questionable losing to the Trailblazers back-to-back. I know that first one was on no rest, but should have probably won that second one. So they have been playing pretty poor basketball. But like I said, you could say the same thing for the San Antonio Spurs. First game back home after the All-Star break, no Wemby. I think Phoenix should be able to win this game. So I did play him on the money line yesterday. I also kind of feel like Devin Booker is probably going to have a really big game here. I think, and this is more like narrative driven, which is why I didn't play it. But Devin Booker didn't make the All-Star team. I kind of feel like everybody who made the All-Star team over Devin Booker, when he plays against them, it's going to be a very strong performance. Wemby made the All-Star team over Devin Booker. So I think that Devin Booker is in a pretty good situational spot. I mean, Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox are not the greatest defenders. Devin Vassell also is not the greatest defender. So I kind of looked at Devin Booker up and over his points prop in this game. San Antonio's been playing super fast. The Phoenix Suns, I feel like, have picked the pace up. They're playing a little bit faster as well recently. Let's just put some numbers to that. Phoenix last 5 games. San Antonio last 5 games. Phoenix actually not playing that fast. They're 21st in pace, but the Spurs are playing a little bit faster. They're 16th in pace. So, yeah, I think Devin Booker has a pretty good game here. Let's see what we have here, if anything at all. Nice, Chad. Nice. Got a +2. Wemby ducking Bull. Fox over his points, D-Bookie says. Bill over his points. Leading Suns. I think the Spurs swept them last season. They're trying to return the favor. Yeah, I think that is true. Nick Richards rebounds over Suns money line makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense. He should be able to grab as many boards as he wants to without Wemby being out there, guys. Gift. I agree with that. LJ says the same. Natalie says she likes Bradley Beal over his 15 points and Suns -2. I like it a lot. Okay. Yeah. So we all kind of agree. Nobody looking towards the Suns in this game, towards the Spurs in this game. Without Wemby, it's a hard ass, man. I know they're at home dog. They're gonna embrace the challenge of being at home, but I think it's a Sun spot. They should be able to win this one. You got to win this one, in my opinion. It's kind of a must-win game. Lakers and the Blazers. This line was at 4.5. This is the last game on the board. It was at 4.5. It's actually down to 3 now. I saw this at 4 last night. I almost grabbed a 4. And I don't really know what to do with this game, man. I think it's a kind of a wait and see game. I think it's kind of a wait and see game. If you like for the Lakers specifically, I think I watched the whole game last night, the whole Lakers Charlotte game, like first quarter through the fourth. The Lakers there were spurts in the first. They didn't look good in the first quarter. Charlotte just missed a bunch of shots. I think Charlotte might have shot like 30% in the first quarter, maybe even worse. The Lakers hit a couple threes, but Luka had 5 turnovers in the first 7 possessions of the game. Like, it's gonna take him a while. Yesterday was his 3rd game since Christmas. 3rd game that he's played in since Christmas. First game without a minutes limit, a minutes restriction. And also didn't really like post-game interview. I'm watching that too. And one of the questions that he got asked was about, if he took the All-Star break to kind of figure out how he could best play with LeBron James. And he was like, nah, actually, I just kind of, tried to get my mind off of basketball. And I think that that's good and all, but when you're on a new team, like he is, you kind of need him to figure it out. And it don't feel like it's figured out. Now, if the Lakers come out here and bomb a bunch of threes, because that's really what they've been trying to do, is shoot a bunch of threes. Austin Reeves got kicked out of the game last night. I do think that they probably found a way to win last night if Austin Reeves doesn't get kicked out of the game. But he also looked terrible. Like I said, the Lakers just don't look good. They're kind of out of sync, out of rhythm. I think fading the Lakers moving forward makes a lot of sense, especially with them not having a center. I'm pretty sure they're going to lose the rebounding battle in this one as well. LeBron also played big minutes last night. I want to go back and look at that. I'm guessing both of those guys are going to play in this game tonight. I think I'm saying all that to say I like Portland. I wanted to have at least 2 possessions, so +4 made a little bit more sense. Lakers have owned this Portland team. They won 5 straight. They covered the last 4 in the head-to-head 2 times already this season, but both were in LA. Both were 7-point favorites, and both games went under 224.5 and 225. Going back last night real quick. Yeah, Bron played big minutes last night. He played 38 minutes. Luka played 33 minutes in his first game, with full minutes. Shot 5 for 18 from the field and 1 for 9 from the 3-point line. I mean, he looked terrible, man. He had 6 turnovers as well. Somehow he still ended up being a +13. I'm not sure how, but he finishes a +13. Maybe the Lakers play with a little bit more energy and effort tonight, man. I'm not sure. I am not sure. On the Portland Trailblazers side of things, they went into the All-Star break pretty poor. Remember, they had won a lot of games in a row. 3 straight losses before the break, though. 3 straight non-covers as well. They got mollywopped both games against the Denver Nuggets. And then I forgot who they lost to before that, but they had lost 3 straight games in a row after winning and covering 6 in a row. And after this game, they got 2 days of rest before they play. I think 1 day of rest before they play Charlotte. So they have played the 4th strongest strength of schedule in their last 5 games. Offensive rating has kind of taken a step back from what we had seen when they were, scoring the basketball. Defensive rating has actually taken a step back as well, because they were a top 10 defensive rated team before these last 3 games where they didn't cover any of the spreads. But they're 20th in defensive rating, 23rd in offensive rating. The Lakers are 11th in offensive rating, 23rd in defensive rating. That's another thing. Luka is absolutely food on defense. So somebody like an Anthony Simons or a Shaedon Sharp should be able to find some success, because if Luka's going to be out there, he can't guard anybody. And that's what I fear for the Lakers. That's exactly what I fear for the Lakers, is that Luka can't guard anybody. He absolutely can't. So if you got a better number with the Blazers, I do think it's the right side. Do I want it at +3? Not necessarily, but I do think that they could potentially win this game, man. I just don't know what I'm going to get from the Lakers. They had actually been on fire, and now you lose to the Charlotte Hornets, a team that struggles to score the basketball. So I would have probably wanted that +4.5, +4. I still think that they could potentially be the right side. You can still get a 3.5 right now. And maybe you wait on the injury report. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody was downgraded to questionable out, being that the Lakers got bigger fish to fry coming up. They got a couple really key games coming up in the West against Western Conference opponents as well, I want to say. So let me just look at this schedule real quick. So the Lakers' next couple games actually come against they got Denver on Saturday. That's an ESPN, that's an ABC game. And then they play Dallas in the Luka revenge game, and that's next Tuesday. So, I mean, I guess you kind of got to win this one because Denver is going to be a tough out in Denver too. And then you got Dallas, Minnesota, the Clippers. So really, like, a 5-game really rough span coming up for the Lakers. And then after that, you got the Pelicans, which you should win that one. But then you got the Knicks and the Celtics. So it's a really difficult 10-game stretch for the Lakers coming up. I guess they kind of got to win this one, is what I'm saying. Let's see. What do we have here? Adam says he likes Devin Booker over his points. Okay. Chad says he got +5. Would take money line at this number, though. Adam says he got +4.5. I don't like all these Portland injuries. So real quick, I didn't go over the injury report. Portland, I think that was one of the reasons why they were getting steamrolled, because they were so injured. No Aiden, no Matisse Thybulle, but he's been out for a while. Robert Williams III is game time decision. Really listed as questionable. Scoot Henderson also listed as game time decision with an ankle injury. And then last but not least is Jeremy Grant. Questionable. And this could be, if Portland ends up ruling these guys out, maybe that's their way of saying, you know what, that winning streak that we went on, we weren't supposed to do that. Like, that was not supposed to be what happened. So maybe that's their way of tanking if they end up coming out, not playing this game super hard. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see. Blazers +3.5 and a little on the money line. Get back game. Jazz's Lakers are trash. OJ says it's time to get Luka assists. Get on Luka assists. They have it at 7 right now, and that's too low. Plus Austin Reeves' point after being ejected last night. Austin Thieves sold everybody slip yesterday. I did wake up and see that this morning, dude. Shout out to B Thitty, man. This dude is funny. Blazers +3. A lot of people liking the Blazers today. And it makes sense. Brian says LBJ over his points. Austin Reeves over his assists. Lakers first quarters. Lakers can't get stops, not laying points. Lakers by 1, Brian says. Tasha took the Blazers +5. Luka rebounds for God's gift over since AD departure. Jackson Hayes isn't a good rebounder. Yeah, he's just like always out of position. What up, Fahrenheit? Traffic cone Doncic? Yeah, that's a fact. Appreciate you as well, Fahrenheit. Natalie says, I don't trust this game, but after last night, I slightly lean Lakers. LaMelo wasn't going to lose last night after his dead foot got amputated. What's crazy, Prop, is that I thought about that angle as well. But what's crazy is Miles Bridges actually had the better game between him and LaMelo. Bridges was hooping last night. LaMelo had a couple big plays, but it was more of a Bridges game. All right. that's it for this game. I didn't bet this one. That's it for the show though. So let's just go through and jump into a bit of a recap. Only a couple of things that I actually bet. But let's go through and highlight them. So Phoenix money line, I got -120. Onyeka Okongwu under 24.5 points at rebounds. Porzingis up and over his first quarter points at 5.5. Dueling Boston -7 as well against the Philadelphia 76ers. I think they just come out and thrust them one time. Like, remember, like I said, the first time that they played was on Christmas, and Boston went in to that game a little lackadaisical. Philly actually beat them outright. The second game, they were down 26 in the third quarter, came back, won the game by 8. I think they just manhandled this version of the 76ers today. That Charlotte team total under, I talked about that at great lengths. I do think that they struggle to score in altitude on the second leg of a back-to-back after a big win last night. Trae Young under 37.5 points and assists, so it must have been available somewhere if I put a 37.5. Also, that Orlando, like what really sticks out to me is that Orlando and Atlanta, not going to make too many plays in the same game, but under 223 would be my recommendation there. And jaXon likes the Knicks. I'm not betting on the Knicks. I'm not betting on the Bulls either. The Clippers are moving to 3 now. Yeah, and that's it. It's a couple that I do want to kind of look into. Somebody mentioned Desmond Bane earlier. I wrote his name down. I think it was Miranda who talked about Darius Garland. I want to find a way to play Darius Garland. Not sure if it'll be points and assists, but I want to find a way to probably play on Darius Garland as well. And then I wrote down Andre Jackson just because of the wrist injury. So potentially looking at his points under or his threes under. And that'll be the show for today, man. That'll be the show. Oh, real quick. I do want to add a future bet real quick that I did make. So I think this is still available right now. I did put 2 units on Golden State to go up and over 43.5 wins. I sent this out to the members yesterday. I'm pretty sure it is still available right now. Let's just make sure. This was 44.5 on every other book, and some of the books actually had a juice. So FanDuel, I think I caught him slipping here. Yes, -122 right now. It was -118 last night. Like I said, 44.5 actually -120 on Caesars. So I can get a better number at a better price with one less win. They could lose one extra game. So let me go through this real quick. The Golden State Warriors are currently in I should have had a write-up. Well, I do kind of got a write-up, but I just want to kind of I know a lot of people don't like future bets because people can get injured and that type of thing, and that's cool. You don't got to play it. But right now, the Golden State Warriors are in 10th place in the Western Conference at 28-27. I do think that they're going to jump frog the Kings, which will put them at 20 at least 9th. And not sure what's going to happen with Dallas. I think Dallas on the road will be a fade. At home, for whatever reason, they tend to get up. I don't know if it's the Kyrie leadership or what, but I just watched them beat Golden State and beat the Miami Heat with I wouldn't even call that a G League team in that last game. That was more like a Z League team. So I do expect the Golden State Warriors to be able to. So would you take, if you want to tell this bet, if you're taking the Golden State Warriors to win 44 games, you're taking them to win 16 more games this season out of 27. So they got 27 games left. You need them to win 16. When I looked at their strength of schedule, it is actually one of the easiest. I forgot what it was, though. Let's see. I'll pull it up real quick. It is one of the easiest strength of schedules that's left. They got the 9th easiest strength of schedule left. Their opponent win percentage is 48.8% with 27 games left. They do got a couple tough games. They got the Knicks twice. They got the Grizzlies once. They got the Denver Nuggets twice. The Rockets once, which they beat the Rockets a couple times. They got the Lakers left again as well. And they got the Clippers. But they also got a couple very easy, doable games. They got the Portland Trailblazers twice, the Sixers, the Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors, the Charlotte Hornets, and the New Orleans Pelicans. And they don't have a major rest disadvantage in any of those games. I sent the screenshot over to the members yesterday, but real quick, yeah, they got what 1, 2, 3. They got 4 games left where they'll be on the second leg of a back-to-back. But in one of those games, when they play the Spurs at the end of the season, both teams actually gonna have 0 days rest. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that when I went through their schedule, I count 16 wins in their 17 games. So I did bet this and send it out to the members. I think it's kind of do or die time for the Golden State Warriors. Love Draymond kind of calling, saying they're gonna win the championship. To win a championship, you got to win 16 games so you can get into the playoffs. So I bet this. I actually wanted to bet them to make the playoffs as well at -140. Talked to my guy Jay Money yesterday after I saw his video, and it made a ton of sense. So I'm probably gonna end up on Golden State to make the playoffs as well. But I do think that they're kind of rounding in the form right now. Also, last thing, Jonathan Kuminga went through practice yesterday. So getting Kuminga back probably gonna help unlock this offense even more since Jimmy Butler has been there. I like the Golden State Warriors in the second half of the season for sure. Since Jimmy Butler has been there, I know it's only been a handful of games, but they're the 4th best defensive rated team, 6th best in efficiency differential, playing pretty fast, 9th in pace, getting up and down, and that's against the 6th strongest strength of schedule over the last 5 games. So I do like Golden State to get 44 wins. That's the only future bet that I've played so far is the Golden State Warriors. Love it, love it, love it. It's a pretty big bet for me too. I wouldn't say it's pretty big, but it's a nice size wager for me. Golden State to get 44 wins. So that'll be it for the show today. If I add anything, it will go out to the members. The link to access all my plays is in the description of the video. As always, the resources that I use to handicap the games are all listed as here. Remember, Jackson likes the Knicks -12 today. Referral codes for Outlier, Moneyballer, Odds Gym are all listed in the description. All of the other resources that I use are in the bottom. They're all listed in white, some of those websites. And that'll be the show for today, man. Best of luck on all your action. We'll be back tomorrow. I will be doing the show with Cal at 4 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow to go through the Friday slate. So best of luck on your action for today. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. I'll catch you guys in the next one.